You've probably heard this exact call to action slash hook online 1,000 times. Get ripped in 90 days using nothing but your body weight. Only floor required, no gym membership needed. This is what online coaches tell you in order to make your best progress in calisthenics. And if your goals are only push ups, pull ups, and bodyweight squats, then maybe you don't need a gym membership. Maybe the park is all that you need. Maybe even dips as well, like bodyweight dips. But if you actually want to get strong, if you actually want to build your most amount of muscle and build the most amount of muscle in the most optimal way possible, be able to build that aesthetic physique that we all know that you want, and be able to make your best progress in skills training, then having more options in a gym would actually be a better option. The thing is, I'm going to go point by point on what I kind of mentioned, and I'm going to go through it. When it comes to getting strong, if your goal is strength, if your goal is that type of like FU, like raw dog, like you're just plowing through people, you need to be lifting heavy. If you're able to do 5 dips, 10 dips, 20 dips, you're not very strong. Even if you're able to do 50 dips, you're still not very strong. You want to know why? Because after you get to a certain point of strength to where you get above, let's say, the 30 rep range, once you get past that, you're no longer really building muscle to its like most optimal extent. It's not heavy enough to train strength. Strength training, if you look at any like strength and conditioning textbook, is typically built best in the 5 to 10 rep range generally. In more specific strength training, it's 1 to 5. So if you want to build like peak strength for like a powerlifting competition, for example, what you would do is you would do sets of 1 to 5 and you would progressively get heavier and heavier, do sets of 1, sets of 2, whatever. And if you're trying to build more general strength for calisthenics or for other sports, you would do multiple lifts, but 5 to 10 reps. If you want to get better at hypertrophy, 5 to 30 reps is the rep range. If you're doing anything more than that, you're gaining basically zero strength. You're probably getting weaker on an absolute maximal scale, and you're mostly training endurance. So you're training your body's ability to kind of prevent yourself from feeling a ton of burn. So you'll feel a ton of burn. It might be a little bit difficult for you to keep pushing dips, keep pushing, but your tolerance to like the lactic acid buildup in your muscle is actually going to be higher. You're not even getting stronger anymore. When it applies to building muscle, being able to do isolations, being able to modify force curves, being able to change up different movements is 100% a guarantee going to allow you to build more muscle than otherwise you would be. Because of the fact you're able to experience more variety, you're able to change up training when training gets stale. You're able to isolate certain muscles and weak points. You're able to get closer to your MRV within certain muscle groups without jeopardizing others. And what that means is essentially you have something called an MRV, so a maximal recoverable volume for an individual muscle. If you were to do shoulder press, for example, which uses your triceps and your shoulders, your triceps, I believe, I'm here. Let me think of a different example. If you were to do pull-ups, for example, there's not many bodyweight bicep exercises that you can do. Like realistically, like you can think about the ones with the rings and like you go on the bar and like maybe you like pull to your face or whatever. Chin ups, bro. But realistically, there's not that many like bicep exercises you can only do with your body weight. If you're to do pull-ups, for example, or even chin-ups, your lats will get more tired and get tired faster and get fatigued faster and get closer to your maximal recoverable volume quicker than your biceps will. Why is that? Because biceps are a smaller muscle. They're actually able to take more because they recover quicker. So think about it like this. If you were to do 5 working sets of biceps, so you do 5 hard sets of bicep curls, and then you go over to like the lat pull down machine, lat prayer machine, whatever, and you do 5 sets of a lat exercise. So you bring your elbow down, you do like this type of thing, like pullovers or pull-ups or whatever. You do 5 and 5, you're actually creating more muscle damage when you do the pull-ups in your back. If your goal is to get giant biceps, what you're wanting to do isn't actually pull-ups. It would be bicep curls. And the thing is, you can do more sets. You can do 10 sets, 20 sets, 30 sets. And the thing is, within the science, obviously there's a global MRV, which is essentially like how much fatigue your body can essentially take. So like if you do 100 sets in a workout, you're probably training too much. But if you were to do like a specialization phase where you focus more on like one muscle over another, what you could do is you can do tons of sets of biceps, not too many of like pull-ups, for example, or back exercises, and you can get giant biceps. When it comes to skills training, for example, getting stronger joints, tendons, other connective tissue, getting stronger muscles, being able to activate your muscles harder, being able to supplement different skills with accessory exercise where you use dumbbells and barbells and different like types of equipment, and adding weight to each movement and adding resistance bands and all those types of things. That is going to allow you to objectively, in 95% of cases, progress faster in skills if you have access to a gym membership, because of the fact that you have more options. You have more tools in your toolbox. Think about it like this. You have two electricians. One of them only has a screwdriver. They have a screwdriver and a hammer. They're an electrician. The other one has a little thing where like you have the two metal prongs and you can stick it in, you get a measured current and voltage and all that kind of stuff. And the guy who has the more equipment, he has like different hammers and different screws and different wrenches, and he has like extra equipment, like a fuse blows out, he carries extra fuses with him, or like a light bulb breaks, he brings extra light bulbs with him, and he has multiple different kinds. That guy is going to be a better electrician, not because the equipment was what was needed, because if they both carry circuits, for example, if they both carry circuits, obviously the guy who brought all the extra stuff didn't need all the extra stuff. But if the situation calls for the extra stuff, if you have a specific weak point in planche, if you have a specific weak point in handstand push-ups, if you have a specific weak point or strength deficit in a specific movement or a specific type of movement, horizontal pressing, vertical pressing, any of those different type of things, if you have a specific need, only having access to your body weight, you can only do so much. And it's very hard to modify. Now that I broke this limiting belief, I just want to give you the option and just let you know that it exists. I have a free community where I literally teach you how to build crazy strength. You're going to need a gym membership for it, or at least some basic equipment like dumbbells, barbells, maybe even a cable in some cases, resistance bands, those types of things. But I teach you how to go from 0 pull-ups to being able to do crazy weighted pull-ups, doing your first muscle-ups, and I teach you how to go from literally 0 dips all the way to learning your first handstand push-ups for completely free. If you're interested in my paid program, that's second link in the description where I go into even more detail, but the base building program, what I call like the creative mode protocol, is first link in the description. You're going to be doing weighted, and the numbers that I have in my free program are roughly 30 to 40% of your body weight for 8 reps added on weighted pull-ups. So if you weigh 100 kilograms, that would be 30 or 40 kilograms for 8 reps on weighted pull-ups, and 50% of your body weight for roughly 10 reps on weighted dips. So if you weigh 100 kilos, that'll be 50 kilos for 10 reps. That is around the point to where people start making what's called diminishing returns. So if you look at a graph, for example, right? We all know you make crazy gains in the beginning when you start training. Like you take someone never trained before, young guy, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, whatever, they start training for the first time. They're going to get ridiculously strong, ridiculously fast for like the first 1 to 3 years of training in most cases. Their progress shoots up. Then what happens is they start to level off. Instead of like this really quick upward trend, they kind of level, and then they hit their first plateau. And then they go up, and then, they plateau again. How crazy. Then they keep going, and they kind of do this wavy motion. At a certain point, the most advanced athletes in the world literally have to wait 4 to 8 weeks to add 2.5 kilos to their best lifts. That's absolutely insane. Saying that you need to progress in weights up to that point to where you're so advanced to where you can only progress every 4 to 8 weeks is unnecessary. Getting to 30 to 40% for 8 reps on weighted pull-ups, 50% for 10 reps on weighted dips is around the point to where you are at the sweet spot of learning how to do skills. And at the same time, you're going to be training other movements. So other horizontal pushing movements. You're going to be training like high pull-ups, and you're going to be training handstand holds and all this type of stuff to transition into more in-depth skills training. But I recommend getting to these numbers before like training planche and front lever and all that type of stuff, and then doing preparation phases. Inside my paid program, I teach you how to do all that. And there's like videos on my channel and stuff for free that you can watch that are a little bit like lower quality, but it's like it's less structured and like a less educational format, I guess I should say. Another thing, being able to do certain accessory exercises is very important. One of the biggest things for me when it came to, what example should I give? One of the biggest things for me when it came to planche training was my wrist strength, because I had really strong elbows from weighted pull-ups and doing some arm wrestling training. I had really strong shoulders from weighted dips and all that kind of stuff. My wrists were like an okay level of strength because I'd done tons of handstand work before, but they weren't strong enough for a full planche lean. And the thing is, I could actually hold like 1 or 2 second full planche, but the thing is, my wrists would get so tired and so fatigued, it just wasn't an option for me to do meaningful attempts in like a high enough volume. So I was only able to do like 1 or 2 attempts, and then I had to stop. Now that I've trained my wrists more in a dedicated fashion with weights, by doing like more preparation stuff, less so with weights, is more so specific to like handstand push-ups and muscle-ups, for example, because those movements are really, really important for like getting a strong base. But doing isolations and doing like specific joint work is super important. Doing side pressure, like where you have a cable pulling you this way and you bring your arm in for like your rotator cuff and strengthening your elbow. That's going to help you stay safe and also perform better for wide muscle ups. Training your triceps is going to help you do slow muscle ups easier, along with like regular muscle ups, because if you're doing them in an explosive way, then it's actually going to apply really well after the high pull up portion. Because really what a muscle up is, and I'm not going to put it on screen because that takes a ton of effort and I don't feel like it for a YouTube video, but I might. But how a muscle up works is you pull up to your hips or like your stomach area, and then it's just a tricep extension on the way down. If you train that, it's actually going to make your muscle ups better if you use it as an accessory exercise. Think about how insane that is. Think about how crazy that is, that you can do gym exercises and get better at body weight skills. And it's true. Getting better at your relative strength and absolute strength are huge. Being able to do weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, incline pressing, horizontal rowing, being able to do isolations where you train your wrist in multiple different angles, where you train your elbows, where you train your triceps, where you train your side delts, where you train your legs and calves and all these types of things to a meaningful degree, is actually going to help you progress an absolute butt ton. If you're interested, free program first link in the description, paid program second link in the description. If you want to learn more from me, I suggest that you press those links. You're not obligated to like actually pay for anything or join anything, just if you're curious in joining or like seeing kind of what it is in case you might want to join in the future. First and second link, that's all you have to worry about. That's been everything. My name has been Brandon. Keep doing the best of doing your best. Trust God. Signing off.